So for the past 5 years, the way that I've fed my children, the way that I put a roof over our heads, the way that I've paid for my really expensive hobbies has been through digital products. So it's safe to say that I know a little bit about them. But you know something that I'm never going to actually do with my own digital products is I'm never going to sell them on Etsy. Why? Because it's unpredictable. It's an absolutely unpredictable marketplace. They can raise their fees on you, they can change the algorithm on you, they can shut down your shop for basically no reason whatever. So why would I risk that when I have a family to provide for? So instead of doing that, in today's video, I'm going to be giving you my exact strategy for creating predictable revenue with digital products. And this is the same strategy that my wife and I have used to be able to build our 7-figure digital product business. If we haven't met yet, hey there, how's it going? My name is Doug, and my wife Haley and I run several online social media based businesses. And we do this with 4 kids, and we homeschool them, we raise them, we hang out with them basically all day together, we travel with them and do a bunch of fun stuff. So if you want to spend more time hanging out with your family or your friends, or basically doing whatever you want than working, then hit subscribe, like this video, and let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so 2 things before we get started real quick. The first thing is that I'm going to assume you already have a digital product, okay? If you don't have a digital product or you don't have a niche picked yet, down in the description below, I have a free training that is just for you. It's going to walk you through actually how to pick your niche, how to pick a product, how to be able to set goals and do all of that stuff. The second thing I want to talk about real quick is why not Etsy, right? Why not some kind of a marketplace? Why not a cheap like $1 or $3 digital product? Well, the thing is that I'm creating content for people that want to be able to like support their families, that want to be able to change their life, that want to be able to pay for their parents as they're retiring and take them out on vacations, or that want to be able to go and travel abroad for however long they want to. And it's honestly a lot harder to do that when you sell a $1 to $2 or $5 low ticket digital product on a marketplace that takes half of your money in fees. It's also a very unpredictable, unsafe thing to do, to put your entire business and your entire livelihood in the hands of someone else. And so I'm anti side hustle. I'm not going to do the AI wall art dog sticker kind of trending topics and things like that. And I'm not going to have you put everything that you have into a marketplace of some sort that you don't own. And now this video will still help you even if you are selling only on Etsy, but at some point I really want you to be able to get onto something like Kajabi or Shopify and own your own site and own your own digital products and basically set your own rules and not have to worry about anybody else. Predictable revenue is exactly what it sounds like. All right, you have a certain dollar amount that you make and you know that you're going to make it. Okay, and how do I know that I'm going to make it? Well, basically I have these things that are called inputs, and I'm going to put them into some type of a system, and then it's going to output a certain amount of money every single month. Now, yes, there are variations. There's things that come up, you know, there's outside factors, there's boats that get stuck in canals, and there's things that, you know, overcome the entire world and everybody has to stay inside for a certain period of time. But for the most part, predictable revenue means on a monthly basis, I can basically do a certain amount of work over here, and when I do it, I'm going to get a certain amount of output that's over here. This should be an I. And the reason that you want a predictable revenue system is because you don't want to have to be stressing every single month, right? You don't have to be worried, like, am I going to get enough sales this month just by, you know, luck of the draw, or hopefully the algorithm blesses me and blesses my product on Amazon. I used to sell on Amazon, for example, and I hope that I'm going to get enough sales this month. I have no actual control, no force for me to be able to say, I need more sales, so I need to do more of some kind of certain thing. You don't want to have that feeling of, am I going to make it, when you have kids and, you know, when you have mouths to be able to feed. So this might be you. Like, if you're posting on Etsy right now and you're like, dude, I really just hope I get 5, 6, or 7 more sales so that way I can make all of my bills and I can survive again, you're really going to want to pay attention from here on out. Okay, so what does it take to be able to create a predictable revenue system? Well, the first thing that we need is we need consistent lead flow. Consistent lead flow is exactly what it sounds like. We just need a consistent amount of people to be able to see our digital product. The second thing that we're going to need is some type of trust. Okay, we need to start building trust with our customers. We need to be able to build a rapport with them. We need to be able to have somebody that actually likes us, so they'll buy multiple products from us and not just buy a single $1 thing, not like us and move on to the next person on Etsy. And the third thing that we're going to need is we need some type of a system, okay? In order for us to be able to be predictable, we need to know that if we put something in, we can measure a sort of output that comes out. And then we can take that output and we can analyze it. We can actually do a little bit of math. I know, woo, math is kind of scary, but basically we can leverage math to know and predict what might happen if we do a certain amount of work. Now, when my wife Haley and I started on this journey of digital products like 5 or 6 years ago, we'd really see that our sales and our revenue would fluctuate heavily from month to month, right? Sometimes they were way up, sometimes they were way down, sometimes they'd stay down, and sometimes they'd stay up. There was no real like expectation of what would happen monthly, and there was no real seasonality. We just saw that it would go up and it would go down kind of at will on its own, and that really freaked us out. Obviously, it's, you know, hindsight is 2020, and it's really easy to be able to look back on now and basically yell at our old selves like, this is what's happening, but we didn't didn't notice it back then, really what was happening was our sales were fluctuating as we were posting on social. So there was an absolute direct correlation between the amount of sales that we would get and the amount of social that we would post. It would basically go like this. I don't know how it wasn't more obvious before, but this is what would happen. And so if we would stop posting on social, then we would start getting less sales. And if we'd start posting more on social, then we'd start getting more. And it would be kind of going like this, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So basically all this tells us is that you just need page views. And page views, in our opinion, means posting on social media. Social media is free. You can talk about whatever you want. You can have it across a bunch of different types of channels. There's a bunch of different ways for you to post on social media. There's short form, there's long form, there's text-based. There's basically something for everybody. Now, the most important part about social media is that if you aren't getting the output that you want, right? Say you post an Instagram reel and your Instagram post translates to one sale. But what this really meant was that if we realized that, hey, we posted on Instagram one time, we put up one Instagram reel and that came out to one sale that was here, but we need to be able to get more sales. This really just means that, let's say if I 2x my Instagram reels, then maybe that would actually 2x my sales. And this correlation is extremely important because what it's telling us is that we actually have control, okay? We have control over an output. Now, sometimes, yes, it isn't always this direct of a correlation, but at the very least, we knew and we understood post more, make more. Very easy, very straightforward. Now, I'm not going to end the video there, although I potentially could. There's a lot more strategy that goes behind it than just post more and make more. But I want to make this abundantly clear that the reason why we are going onto social media and posting more is because that is one of our main inputs. So other than just posting one time on Instagram or 3 times on Instagram, we can also move over to other types of platforms. Obviously, there's like YouTube, there's podcasts, you could do Facebook, you could do, X, you could do TikTok, you could do really whatever it is that you want to, and you can put your content wherever it is that you want to. But the entire idea is that you should see a correlation of like when you post more, then you're going to get more sales. Now, again, it's not just that simple because it has to be a specific type of content that you're posting. You can't just go about and post willy-nilly about whatever it is that you want. It has to be consistent content that solves consistent problems. Now, what I mean by that is that your content should all be aimed at the same type of person. Now, some people call this like an ideal customer. Who is your ideal customer? Basically like, what is their age and what is their demographics, the rest of their demographics, what kind of job do they have? How much money do they make? What type of interests do they have? What type of hobbies do they have? You need to know everything about your ideal customer because the biggest thing that you need to be able to know about them is what are their problems. If we understand their problems, then we have content to create. And this is really hard, right? Because a lot of us, like me included, I want to make content on business, but I also want to make content on race cars, and I want to make content on keyboards, and I want to make content on basically all of my random hobbies that I have. I want to be able to talk about all of them because I think it'd be a ton of fun and I think it'd be really cool to do. But the thing is that if I want to make money for my family, I cannot go talk about all those other random things. I need to attract the people that will potentially sign up for the freebie that's down in the description below and potentially, enroll in one of our programs or do something like that. So I have to talk about the content that will actually attract that type of people. I'm breaking this kind of fourth wall right now. So what you need to do next is basically pick whatever social media platform that this ideal customer is on and basically spend most of your time there at first. And what we're going to do is we're going to figure out all of the problems that they're having and we're going to create content that solves all those problems because ideally that person is coming to those social media platforms to find answers to their problems and you will be the answer to their problem. And so that's how we can get people consistently to our social media profiles. But there is one more thing that we have to do in order to get, like I said, page views to our actual product, right? To our digital product. And so the way that we do that is we do that with a call to action, a CTA. And so kind of like I do at the beginning of this video where I say, hey, check out something down in the description below. You'll need to do that with your social media posts as well. So that way you can in fact get page views to your digital product. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do once you start learning how to get consistent lead flow is we need to start building trust with our customers. The thing is that while people might actually view your content, it's very rare that they're going to trust you just kind of the first time that they come around and see you. We need to actually earn their trust by showing up multiple times. Okay, and we need to be able to create specific types of content and talk in specific types of ways to be able to earn their trust enough for them to want to buy something from us. So let me explain a little bit more about trust. So when it comes to building trust, one of the first things that we want to do is we want to show expertise and authority. And so what this basically means is like, hey, I know what it is that I'm talking about. And you should pretty naturally do that through social media. It should actually come relatively easily if you know what you're talking about. And if you post enough about it, people are going to start recognizing like, hey, this person probably knows what they're doing because when I watch their content, it makes sense. I try to implement some of what they're doing. It tends to work. So I'm going to trust them because it looks like they're an authority on the topic. But one of the secret factors of being able to have authority on a topic or to be seen as an expert is if you can have empathy. If you can empathize with someone, you can market to them better, you understand their problems better, you can speak like they do, you basically like have the same dream life that they do, and it really makes them trust you more if they know that you are basically one of them. And that kind of bleeds over into one of the next sections that's here. When it comes to building trust, is getting them to like you. Now, if you can get them to like you, that's almost as important as getting them to know that you know what you're talking about. But you got to be able to have both of them, okay? So empathy leads to them liking you, but it is a little bit more than that. When it comes to them liking you, it's also like the way that you talk, the things that you say, your mannerisms, your background, your backstory, and stuff like that. And so again, a lot of that is naturally going to come out in your social media content, but sometimes you have to put a little bit of effort forth to make sure that you insert it and that you plug it into your content, or that it exists on your bio or things like that. Now, beyond just social media content for building trust, another really great tool for this is email. Now, the reason why email is great is because one, you're getting their email in exchange for some piece of information. So that way you can actually continue to market them. Obviously, that's like the obvious answer. Everybody wants an email list. Everybody needs an email list. But the really fun thing about email is that you can talk about whatever you want on email. Okay, you don't got to worry about algorithms. You don't got to worry about YouTube censoring you for saying a specific word or getting demonetized or getting kicked off of a platform or something. This is one of the best places where you can actually connect with people. Okay, you can actually write your heart out and your story and the things that you've gone through, and you can be 100% genuinely yourself and really speak the way that you would. And what's really cool about it is people can reply back to you and give you direct feedback on what it is that you're saying in more of like a private space. Some people won't ever really comment on a YouTube video, or they won't comment on an Instagram post, but email is a place where a lot of conversations can happen that, you know, honestly, a lot of people may not have in the first place. So if you can get people onto your email list, right? So if you can have some type of like a freebie, or you could basically just call out that you have a really good newsletter that you're putting together and people should sign up for it, you can actually start to build way more trust through email as well. Now, finally, one of the most important pieces to building trust with somebody and having enough trust with them for them to be able to continue to spend money with you is to have testimonials. Now, testimonials are exactly what they sound like. They're basically people saying, hey, this product was really good, or hey, this product got me this thing. This product is 5 out of 5 stars. However, the testimonial setup works. For us, we actually use testimonials that are a little bit more in depth. We have like video testimonials. We'll have pictures of people with captions next to their names. We'll interview people. There's a lot of stuff that we do to basically prove like, hey, our stuff works. And so if you have a new product that you're putting up, sometimes it's important to be able to give out your product for free to get feedback from people and potentially in exchange for testimonials. So do whatever you can to try to get some type of a testimonial. Okay, in my opinion, when it comes to testimonials, the ones that carry the most weight are video. But then if you don't have video, then you can obviously have like a picture and a quote. And if you don't have a picture and a quote, then you could do just a quote. And if that doesn't work either, something else that actually is really nice is when you can get screenshots. So if you can get screenshots of people like in a community or DM you or something like that, and they'll allow you to post them, having screenshots, you know, like sitting there on a page with like the little text bubbles and stuff is extremely important. It feels very real as well. And if you don't have any form of social proof whatsoever, you can basically demonstrate social proof by doing. Sometimes you have to do the thing first before you can get the testimonials, before you can sell the product. And somebody that's a great example of that, I know it's kind of strange to call this out, but like Thomas Frank, and he talks about all of his Notion stuff, right? And so when it comes to, you know, Notion, he was basically building Notion templates for himself and for his team. And then he would basically talk about how they worked on his other YouTube channel. And then he would started selling his Notion templates and building them out. And it was out of necessity for him in his business, but he basically gave proof by doing and showing, and that is what got people to be able to purchase his Notion templates. I mean, he obviously has plenty of testimonials everywhere and you can see everybody's faces and stuff, but everybody has to start somewhere. Now, I want to talk about the third and final piece of the predictable revenue system, which is to build a system itself. Having a system really just means having something that we can measure, okay? We can take our inputs and we can put them into something that's here, and then we have outputs, but we can measure everything that's happening in between, okay? I can measure at multiple steps or at multiple phases what is happening with those inputs. In order for me to be able to make any kind of adjustments or be able to predict anything that's gonna happen, or at least to be able to see if I'm doing a good job or not, I have to be able to measure stuff. So it's extremely important that we have a measurable system. And one of the most common and easy to put together measurable systems that people usually work with is a funnel. So funnels are very simple. They're very easy. All a funnel is, and people tend to really overcomplicate this, but all a funnel really is that you have like a web page, and then somebody clicks on something and goes to another web page, and somebody clicks on something and it takes them to a cart and they check out and they buy. That's all a funnel is. A funnel is really just a series of steps that somebody follows along a customer journey or a customer path. And so a funnel can be any number of things, okay? A funnel can really come over here and it can start with a social media post. Our funnel can start with an email. A funnel can start with like a text. Okay, a funnel can really start with pretty much anything. And what it's going to do is it's going to lead them to taking a first step. Now, because funnels are steps, like I said earlier, because they go from one page to another, and then there's a checkout conversion, and we have analytical tools like Google Analytics, or Kajabi has analytics, or we can really just track from traffic from page to page. We can actually measure the efficiency of this system. I think it might be better if I actually showed you what my funnel looks like. So my funnel might start something where it's like you're on my YouTube channel, for example, and you're going through and you're actually, watching a video, and then I do a call to action to something in the description, and you go down to something in the description, you go ahead and click it, and it takes you to a page that looks like this. Now, this is a typical like landing page or registration page. It has a title and some descriptions of what's going to happen, whatever. And then there's also a form for you to go through and fill out. So if we head back over to our little drawing tool here, basically what this looks like is you have something like a YouTube video. You could have an Instagram post. It could be pretty much anything that's going to take you to a registration page. And once you hit that registration page and you actually sign up, it's going to take you to multiple pages, right? So with ours specifically, it takes you through day 1, and then it's going to take you through day 2. Put it up on the screen. You can actually see kind of what this looks like. There's a video training that's there. There's homework for you to go through, and you can go through day 1, day 2, day 3, so on and so forth until you get through the end of the training. Now, hopefully you're getting a ton of value as you go through the end of the training, and you don't really want to drop off at any point. But for those that do want to drop off, or for those that maybe don't have enough time, what's going to happen is when you registered, I actually got your email too. And so you're going to be receiving emails for each one of these days as well. So you're gonna get email 1, email 2, email 3, and so on and so forth through the rest of the training. And so what all this ends up leading to is at the end of it, at some point, there's a pitch and an offer that happens. Now, if you want to figure out what that pitch and offer is, you're more than welcome to go through the training and everything. But the entire idea here, and what I wanted to kind of show you and explain to you, is that as you go through this, I am getting data on basically how well this performs every single time. So between the views that I get over here on social and the registration page visits, there's going to be a certain percentage here. And then the amount of visits that I get to the amount of actually people that view day 1 here, there's going to be another percentage of people. And so I would go through and calculate every single percentage for every single one of these steps that's here. Okay, so I'll have a percentage 1, a percentage 2, 3, 4, and 5, so on and so forth, and every single step that I have. And so this right here, you guys, is the secret, okay? If I can basically know that I have a certain amount of views, let's say I have 10,000 views over here, it's going to go through all of these percentages and all these calculations, and I can estimate that that's going to leave me over here with 100 sales. Well, I know that every 10,000 views, I get 100 sales. And so let's say I need 300 sales for me to be able to buy a brand new race car. Well, guess what? I just need to aim to get 30,000 views. And how do I get 30,000 views? Well, I end up posting more. But I wouldn't really know any of this if I didn't have some type of a system in place, something that can be measured. So make sure that when you're doing all this, you're using some sort of a tool, like I mentioned earlier, like Google Analytics, or Kajabi has its own analytics tracking, or so does Thinkific and the other like programs that are out there, and start tracking all of your data. And so that's it. That is the secret to predictable revenue. Basically, you need 3 things. You need consistent lead flow, you need trust from your customers, and you need a system that you can measure. I know it probably wasn't the most sexy video, or wasn't like the most exciting thing that you've ever seen before in order for you to be able to make however much money it is that you want to be able to make a month, but it is the truth. It is how online business that is sustainable and that can actually feed a family actually works. If you got some value out of this video, I'd love a like, a subscribe, leave a comment down below on what you thought, leave a comment down below on if you change the system, or if you do something different, or how it might apply to your own digital product. And again, if you're interested, down in the description below, I have a free training that walks you through how I actually implement the system to actually feed my family. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.